Okay, the table we're going to play on today, we're going to play with the ruins, and pretty much all the temple buildings that we have that are painted, along with the rivers and some trees. And in the scenario we're going to play is that the Imperial Guard found a Necron prototype walker on this planet. Let's see if I can show that to you. So that's going to be the walker. And they took off with it, and before they could escape with it off planet, the Necrons shot them down. So the Valkyrie has crash landed here near the ruins, and the guardsmen have managed to pull the walker out, and they basically put it into this building right there, and they've surrounded it, and they have called in for assistance. So the Necrons, of course, are, after they shot them down, they knew where they were, so they're going to arrive in this system to take that walker for themselves. And the Blood Angels are the ones who were in orbit when the Imperial Guard called for assistance. So the Blood Angels are going to try to get in to help the Guard as fast as they can. So in this scenario, the Blood Angels have to go into reserves, and what we'll do is we'll split half the army up, and as close as we can to the number of units, and we'll roll a die on whichever half the Blood Angel player wants to arrive first. And on 1 to 3, they get that half in. On a 4 to 6, the other half comes in. And then, of course, every unit has to deep strike or arrive in a deep striking unit. So the Death Company will be in the Land Raider, which will also be deep struck. Went with the Land Raider instead of the Storm Raven just to be a little bit more careless, and just basically this scenario is just to have fun. It's not supposed to be evenly matched. We'll see what happens. But the guardsmen are obviously can be shot by the Necrons and killed, and they can shoot back against the Necrons. They just are not allowed to move away from that objective. So they have to be there. And then what we're going to do is, if the Necron player gets a warrior or a mortal into base contact with the walker, then they can sacrifice one model in the unit, and that model will then basically using the parts of that warrior or mortal to restore the walker, and the walker will then become active. And what we did is we created just some base stats for a basic walker. So weapon skill 4, ballistic 0, strength of 7, armor of 11 all the way around, initiative 2, attacks 1, and hit points is, hull points, will be 1. But what we're going to do is, if the Necron player wishes to sacrifice once it's active, or during the turn it becomes active, if they want to sacrifice an additional 1 or 2 units, it'll gain it that many more hit points, up to 3. Every time the walker takes hit point damage, they can sacrifice a warrior within 3 inches and restore a hull point. But those units that are sacrificed, they cannot be, the will be back or the reanimation protocols won't work. So it's just an actual sacrifice, although the Ghost Ark could still repair from its parts, as it were. So basically the Blood Angel player needs to either destroy the walker or have it wrecked at the end of the game. We're going to do standard turn lengths, so we'll do 5 and then random after that. So if it's a wreck or destroyed by the end of the game, the Blood Angel player scores 3 additional victory points. If it's still active, the Necron player scores 3 additional points. And then the other standard victory points, so Slay the Warlord, Linebreaker, will still apply. And what we're going to do is do Hammer and Anvils. We'll deploy from one of these 2 short table edges, whichever one the Necron player wishes do, and then we're going to assume that the Blood Angel player has first turn, and since they have to deep strike in. But in order to make it a little bit more interesting, the Necron player will be counted as moving for the Ghost Ark, so we won't be able to just shoot the Ghost Ark with no Jinx save. So they'll always be able to get their Jinx save on for turn 1. But obviously, since it's deep striking, Blood Angel player cannot assault on turn 1, just like the standard rules. And then on turn 2, the Blood Angel player will deep strike the remaining half of their army. Alright, so I guess we'll be back after the Necron deployment. Okay, and the Blood Angels army today, we have a Sanguinary Guard squad, the standard kit with a banner. So we got 2 axes in that kit. We have a Death Company Dreadnought with Blood Talons, Magna Grapple, and then his standard weapons. We have a drop pod, and the drop pod does have a locator beacon. We have a Land Raider Crusader, Multi-Melta Stormbolter. We have Death Company squad, which is the ones taking that Land Raider. So they have 3 power swords, 1 plasma pistol, and then 4 bolters. And then there is a Reclusiarch. This is not Lamarte's. This is just going to be a standard Reclusiarch with the bolt pistol and no jump pack. That way he can go into the attached to them and go into Land Raider, and that's what they're going to be in. We have 2 assault squads like usual with 2 sanguinary priests. And then instead of Dante, he's going to be proxying a librarian with a jump pack and a force axe and an Infernus pistol. So he will be WYSIWYG. He's just not going to be Dante. He'll be a librarian. And the 1 squad, you have a power fist, a storm shield, 2 Infernus pistols. And on the other squad, you have a power sword with storm shield and 2 plasma pistols. That is the Blood Angel army. Okay. On the Necron side today, we got a pretty good sized list. We have an Overlord and his Royal Court of just 2 Lords, all 3 with Res Orbs, all 3 with Staff of Lights. The Overlord does have the Mind Shackle Scarabs. We have 2 5 Scarabs space squads, whatever you want to say. We have 1 warrior squad of 10 warriors and 1 warrior squad of 20 warriors. We have a Destroyer Lord with just his Res Orb and a War Scythe. And then we have 1 group of Destroyers, full 5 squad. The Annihilation Bards with the Tesla Cannon. We have 1 group of 10 Immortals. We have 2 Ghost Arcs. And a Monolith. And that is their list. Okay, after Necron's deployment, this is how he elected to arrange himself, basically filling up this half of the table with as many units as he's got. And then on our Blood Angel side, for our Vanguard units, we decided to put the Death Company Dreadnought in the drop pod. Death Company with Reclusiarch, Sanguinary Guard, and the Land Raider will be hopefully coming in first on a 1-3. And then our Assault Squads and Librarian and Sanguinary Priest on a 4-6. So, let me just grab a die. We have still layers. Okay, let's see who comes in first. Dude! Just who I want to come in first. So, we'll be back after Blood Angels turn 1. After Blood Angels turn 1, the Land Raider Deep Struck over here did scatter a little bit and failed his dangerous terrain test, so he's immobilized. And he did shoot at the Monolith and stripped off a hull point. The Drop Pod and Death Company Dread jumped in over there, and the Dread shot at the Annihilation Barge and didn't do anything, and the Stormbolters fired at that, didn't do anything. The Sanguinary Guard jumped in, shot at the Immortals, and they made all their saves. The Guardsmen that are still up here went ahead and rearranged, shot at this warriors, and they managed to kill a warrior. So far Blood Angels done nothing, and Guard have killed a warrior. On to Necron's turn 1. Necron, after the Necrons turn, the Immortals turn around and move forward. The Destroyers move forward, shot at that Sanguinary Guard, and this guy moved forward and shot at them, and they did manage to wipe them out because I love to roll 1s. The Annihilation guy shot at and stripped off the arm of the Dreadnought. The warrior, I think it was the Ark or the Warriors. No, it was the Ark. Shot at the Dreadnought and stripped off another hull point. The Warriors, of course, annihilated the drop pod. It is a wreck. These Warriors just moved forward to get closer to the objective. Monolith shot at the Land Raider and, of course, did nothing. He couldn't get through that armor. So that is where we stand after turn 1. On to turn 2. Okay, after Blood Angels turn 2, the Death Company disembarked and kind of ran forward just to get, hopefully, to those warriors. The Land Raider shot at the Monolith and again stripped another hull point. He's doing really good with that. The 2 Assault Squads deep struck in. Forgot to roll for the Dangerous Trust on that one. So let's see if he's dangerous. He's fine. So they deep struck in there, and there This squad shot at that Ghost Ark and did manage to destroy it in one turn. These guys shot at the destroyers and stripped off 1 hit point. The Dreadnought back over there assaulted the Annihilation, or shot at the Annihilation barge and destroyed it. And that is it. Oh, no. These guys are going to fire at those warriors real quick, but after that, we'll be back for Necron's turn 2. And at the end, turn 2, the Monolith particle whipped that group of assault marines and killed off the Librarian and pretty much everybody in there but those 2 guys. The Destroyer shot at them, everybody kind of shot at them, but then they assaulted and they still lived through, so we got 2 guys left over there. These Scarabs went in to tar pit this unit, and we lost a couple of Scarab bases, but they're probably going to be there for a while. Mortals shot at and finished off the Dreadnought. Monolith shot at his flayers at him and stripped off 2 of his hull points, so he's down to 2. This warrior squad, or let's see, that warrior squad shot the Imperial Guard. This warrior squad assaulted the Imperial Guard and did finish them off. So now they are ready to take their objective. That is the end of turn 2. On to turn 3. Okay, Death Company moved forward, shot at those warriors in there, and did kill 3, and then 2 came back with reanimation, and then they just snake-eyed their charge range, so they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. These combat went about as you expected. It's kind of came out as a wash, killed some more bases, but still stuck. Over here, again, nobody wounded anybody. This has been kind of a stalemate little squad over here as well. So, then I guess the Land Raider also fired at the Monolith, and again did squat. So that's it for turn 3 Blood Angels. On to Necrons. Okay, at the end of turn 3, this assault is almost wrapped up. We only got 2 Scarab bases left. The Monolith, of course, shot at the Death Company. The Warriors shot at the Death Company. Those Warriors shot at the Death Company. Pretty much anybody who goes through the Death Company did. And they're down to 4 piddly little guys left. This combat, again, ended in a draw. Brings been doing that every time. So, on to Blood Angels, turn 4. Forgotten it, but they did reanimate the Walker, so it is back up, and he sacrificed 2 guys. So, it has 2 hull points, and so it is... We decided, though, that it couldn't move on the turn that it was activated, but on his next turn, it can definitely move. So, here's where we are. Let's see if the Blood Angels can manage to squeak maybe a minor victory out of this. I doubt it. Let's find out. Well, probably too little, too late, but the Death Company did wipe out those warriors, and they sweeping advanced them and did finish them off, so they're dead, but of course the Walker's going to be able to walk away, and a whole blob of 20 is going to be able to just annihilate me. These guys did finally finish off the Scarabs. Unfortunately, they did it right before the Necron turn, so I'm pretty sure this Monolith was going to eat them alive, but yeah, whatevs. The Sergeant finally died over here, so now it's just those 5 against 1 little guy left, and that is all the Blood Angels have left. Of course, a mobilized Land Raider. On to Necron's turn 4. Okay, so after the Necron's turn 4, they shot at and annihilated all the Assault Marines over here, but 2, those guys, that guy finally dead, so he's dead. So all the Blood Angels have left is those 2 little peons, 1 Reclusiarch, and 1 Land Raider, so we're going to call the game right there. So it's definitely a victory for the Necrons. Score is, looks like 1-5, so it's definitely a win for the Necrons. Thanks for watching.